Hey, how's it going today, guys? We're going to try out a new segment here for you guys. We're going to call it On the Workbench. And we're going to start looking at some of the used equipment that I get a hold of and deals, Facebook Marketplace, whatever, and see what it takes to turn somebody else's junk into our usable stuff. So, what I've got for you today is a swap I made off of Facebook Marketplace. I started with an old metal sign from a dealership that a buddy of mine gave me, 15 years ago or something. Nothing fancy, just a flat metal sign with vinyl on it that came out of an old dealership. And so a subwoofer and some amplifiers that came out of an old car when I was, 10 years ago. And I got to wheeling and dealing on Facebook, and through a couple of trades, I have turned that stuff out of my shop into a Stihl BR600 professional grade backpack blower. Now, yeah, it needs some work, but I go start it right now and blow the yard if I need to. But we're going to make it better. So stick with us and let's go take a look at it. And here's the blower we got. Now then, you see the tag is missing off of it. So I guess technically it could be a 500 or a 550, but we'll check some numbers. I'm pretty sure it's the 600 like they said it was, but it's still good professional grade Stihl backpack blower that starts and runs, right? Now, just doing general inspection after I used it, some of the things I noticed are the stop for the gas cap is gone, so it just completely just comes off. I like to have the stop, so I will put one of those back on it. This side strap has broken and it's just tied on, which means it's not long enough to reach the thing. So that's something I'll need to fix. There's a break on the frame here, which I may or may not fix. That's not a critical thing, but if I find a good cheap one on eBay or something like that, then I may get it. Straps themselves are in pretty good shape. Right, all the pads are there, no major wear and tear there. Now then, the big one we got is this tape job we got here. No idea why that's there. Handle's a little loose, so probably something to do with that. But I don't know why they'd come all the way back here. So we'll pull that off and take a look at what's going on in there. But, yeah, we want to get it right, but we'll see. It helps if I put the camera where I'm good at. Best videographer alive. And, there's a little clip on this thing here. Let's see if I can get it to where you can see it. That's supposed to be up here for this line to go through. One thing I already fixed, and I'll show you guys how when I got it. This throttle cable was way stretched out, right? And I could move it way back here before it started engaging. Now, I get that much before it starts engaging. Right, so all that is, if you look right up in here, see that little hole there? See if it will focus in that hole. Not really. But inside that hole is a little flathead screw. And you just turn that flathead screw to the right to tighten the cable. So if there's too much slop in the trigger, more than, this 1/8 inch or so, 1/16 of an inch, then you can turn that and it will tighten that cable and get rid of that slop. But like I said, this is a pretty good industrial quality blower. Professional grade blower that starts, runs, and works. It just needs a few minor tweaks to get it back to where we want it. So let's get you guys set up on the workbench here and we'll start taking a look. All right, here we are on the bench. Let's take a look at this first and figure out what's going on with all this tapey mess, right? We're going to need to get some tools. I think a razor knife, some gloves, and a pair of side cutters. Should be a good start. Let's grab those. All right, here we go. So, good flush cutters, razor knife. Also, trick for some of you guys. They're a little expensive, but you want a really good set of flush cutters. See that? It says, here we go, turn it where you can see it. It says Citadel. This is actually for model making, right? But these work really good as long as you're not trying to cut metal and stuff. Plastics, soft coppers, those type of things. This is some of the best flush cutters I've ever used. I have a pair of Nipex in there I got for Christmas. I keep forgetting to bring out to the shop, but I'll get them out here eventually. I'm just trying to take my time through this tape so I don't cut up anything I don't mean to cut, right? I obviously had to put this here for a reason, but I'm hoping it's kind of like the trigger that they didn't know how to adjust, that it's something simple that they didn't want to mess with. And that makes it where I can do these kind of trades and spend a little bit of my time out here making cool videos for you guys. And wind up with a good tool. Okay, so they definitely have broken this handle. But those are replaceable parts. I was hoping it was a tube issue. The tubes are cheaper than the handles are, but hell, it may be both, to be honest with you. We just don't know until we get this stuff off of here. But still, these damn blowers are $550 to $650 new, depending on where you look. And I traded for some stuff sitting around in my shop. So, yeah, it looks like they just taped that together. Didn't even hold that together. And they've broken, just the clamp. The throttle's fine, and you got the screws right there. You can see those. I did some research on it today. There's a clamp piece that slides up in there and the screws go into. You can buy those clamps online relatively inexpensively. So the throttle control itself is all right. It may need the hose section still. I don't know what's in there. Definitely isn't right. I don't know if it came off another blower because it's way too small. Okay, set that piece aside for right now. Get the rest of the tape off of this stuff. Make sure there's nothing else going on in here that I'm not seeing. Collapse spot in that accordion tube there. Push that back out. Tape off of this, we can do our inspection here. And this will spin on this, right? So we take a look. Yeah, that was definitely just taped on there to hold that pipe on there. Just weird, but alright. Okay, well, let's move this stuff out of the way. Well, actually, while I'm up here, we can do the one thing I want to do is this has got to go up at this side here for that cable to go down. And I don't think you're supposed to be able to spin that like that. So that is a Torx. You can find the right size Torx bit, get set up for that. You can see that. It's an old American-made Master Mechanic bit driver. I've got a toolbox that I got from my dad. Years and years and years ago. He used it when he was in the auto body business. And this is one of the tools that I found in it. Needed a little help. Still does. That ball is a little rusty still, and I'm working my way through fixing that. But pretty sure this is the right size Torx. And we can give that a little smudge tighter. And now that doesn't spin around, so it stays where it's supposed to. And then this bushing here comes up this and clips into that, just like that. That's how that's supposed to go. Yeah, so now that's contained. It slides through it as it moves, right? So it won't drag, but it's contained in there. Now then, next size down. While we're here, let's also get this broken clamp piece off this handle. There we go. So it's ready for the new one. When I order that, we'll make a list of all this stuff that we need to get as we go. Little pieces like this. It's one of the things that's wrong with this thing is that ball on here. It's either too tight or not tight enough, and depending on whether you've used it or not, and doesn't like to let the thing stop. But I'm hoping if I keep spraying it and using it more, that it will get better. See, this piece right here just pushes up in there. And this is supposed to be a clamp that goes around that and clamps on, and then this goes to. So we'll put these back in here so they don't get lost. But now I've got that clamp off. Proof of concept that I was right, that that is the little clamp. It's what's broken, so we can fix that. Boom. All right. So that's what we can get to on this today. And so far we know we need to order this broken strap here, which is a replaceable part, and the clamp for the handle, which is a replaceable part, and the little crossbar for the fuel cap, that's a replaceable part. So we're up to 3. Matter of fact, let's get Sharpie out here. Find something to write that on so we don't forget. Alright, here's our little notepad here. So, we said we need throttle, handle, clamp. You can write. You guys can make fun of me for my handwriting. It's atrocious. That's fine. We need a backpack strap. And the other thing. Oh, gas cap retainer. All right, list of parts started. Now then, let's take a look at what we got going on here. It's the rest of that clamp. Man, this tape. They at least use some decent duct tape, it seems like. That is on there. Yeah, see, there's another piece of that clamp. Just, where do I set the rest of that? There it is. So that, crap in the way there. Anyway, this would have been on here like this, right? And then there would have been the whole piece that went around and clamped it on, and it's just broken all the shit. So, definitely got to replace that. What I don't understand is how they got this tube on here. Oh, so I stay under the camera so you guys can see. There's a Velcro retention strap that's partially cut, and that's probably me that cut that. Getting this out of here. There's some weird thing on it here. Who knows what that's for. Let's see if this will come apart here. Yeah. Give it the old Judy chop. Alright. We're going to do this the easy way. The Marine Corps way. And knife hand it off. Yeah. Totally did not have to lock that in a vise and use a strap wrench. Just knife hand your way through. Okay, now then, let's get the rest of this tape off of here. So you see where this tape was on it. What had happened was this tape had been jammed up into the tube length adjustment mechanism that's built into it, and had it all locked up. So, how that works, never seen one of these before. There is this track system and these dots, right? So it slides in there and then can twist and lock and stays on. Won't come apart as long as you do it right, which I didn't. Get that in there and then twist it and it locks up on there, and boom, and then you can unlock it, push it to the next one, twist it, locks like that. So you can adjust the length of this thing for however tall you are. But that's got that there. So what we need to do now is take it back apart. So just twist it back till it unlocks and slide it back out of there. And it is a tight fit. This is not designed to be like the easiest adjustment in the world. You're supposed to find your height, set it there, and kind of leave it. You know what I'm saying? Here, get that in between. All right, get a hold of it. Come on, there we go. Now it's out. So imagine, you saw how hard that was just like that. Imagine that with a bunch of duct tape jammed up in it. What a pig bitch that was. So, that piece is there. And now then, if you want to take this tip off, you got this lock dot here, this lock dot here. So you can just kind of twist it over them so that they don't hang. And slide that off. And you got your nozzle, which we can, it's all chewed up. I will probably trim that back to flush. It's amazing what people do to their equipment. This piece is pretty good. No major issues there. The actual steel part, so. And this one's the actual steel part. It just wasn't put together properly. is this is supposed to go up in there, and then there's a clamp ring that goes on it. That clamp is missing, but it's just a fancy steel hose clamp. This part is broken, so we're going to go ahead, take that off. And I've never had a use for these, but if somebody knows what they're used for and tells me, oh, you should get yourself a new one, and here's why, I will get a new one. Alright, so see, this one's got a little bit of damage where it's been smashed before, but not horribly out of round. This got run over is what happened. See, this whole tube has got this big kink in it. You can see that high ridge right there, and that handle busted off. This thing got run over by something. They slapped it back together good enough to make some money off of it because they thought it would be really expensive to fix. Haha, little did they know. Their loss is my gain. I can fix this thing for like probably 50 bucks or less with what's all that's going on with it. All that's going on is that little clamp on the handle. Everything else is stuff I fixed for free. All that in a strap and a gas cap thing, but that strap and gas cap thing are not critical. But I do want to get this piece cleaned up, so let's get some rags and some goo gone. Alright, well, that took longer than I wanted it to, but with the use of a little movie magic, that'll be no time for you guys. So, start with our little scraper here. See if how much of this we can just kind of knock off like that. Not much, that's just smearing it. So, get some Goo Gone on a rag. See what happens here. Yeah, if you take that little thing that comes on it and just poke a hole in it, turns your bottles into little scrubbers or into little sprayers. And then sometimes a little soft bristle, this one's brass, will make all the difference, right? So let's get some on this rag here so we can rub everything down and let that soak. Because this is duct tape goo, and that's always a pain in the ass to get off. Actually, what we're going to do, we're going to wrap this thing up in this rag like this, and then just saturate this rag down pretty good. There's probably a better way to do this, more efficient, but I've had this same bottle of Goo Gone for years, and I only use it for shit like this, so we'll let that sit back there and soak and soften that stuff up. In the meantime, we can get another rag and do some cleanup on these other parts. Just a general once over and inspection. Make sure everything's alright here. Man, that thing has moved some. Let's get this back to the center of the workbench here. There we go. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? There's a tiny bit of tape mark on that. Let's get some goo gone off of that rag there. See if we can take that off fairly quickly. Yeah, see, that one's dried up a lot more. Real small. You throw a little goo gone on there and take her right off with your scraper. And if you keep your scrapers the right angle and use the right side, so there's a flat side and an angled side, put the flat side to the tool and it won't dig in, and then you can keep it at the right angle to keep an edge, leading edge going, and scrape right across the surface, and it only take off the high spots. I'll glue gun on your rag and scuff that up. There you go. So we got some more here. This thing was the epitome. If you can't duck it, fuck it, right? Throw some duct tape on it, say it works. List it up for sale and get it gone. I mean, it worked for them. They got some trade fodder for it, I guess, but I'd rather have this blower than what I got rid of. After a couple afternoons of my time and, I don't know, 30 bucks worth of parts, and I'll turn literal junk out of my shop I wasn't going to do anything with ever, right, into something that I needed for the homestead here. And it's, I mean, other than a few bits of parts that I'm going to buy for this thing, that makes this basically a free backpack blower to me. Right? Well, take that back. They wanted 100 rounds of 22 ammo in the trade. So, it cost me, I don't know, 15 bucks for that. So, you know, there's that. It's one of the things we've said a bunch, or I don't know if I've said on here yet, but it's been said a bunch, is that 22 ammo will be great trade fodder if things ever go to shit. And you can start practicing it now, because it's already pretty good trade fodder now. Alright. That's all the tape up off of that. Oh, nope, there's a spot right there. There we go. That thing cleaned up. Not much I can do about the crease in it where it was run over. Is it cracked there? No, it's just got a big ass scratch in it there. No cracks. So it will work. If it was rounder, it would adjust better. And I may take a heat gun to it and see if I can't work that out in a little bit. But in the meantime, take a look at this piece here. Scratched up and used a bunch, but this tip, I don't like how chewed up that tip is. I am just going to trim that down a little bit. So, show you a trick for getting straight lines on stuff. Painter's tape or masking tape has a cut straight edge on it. Right, so if you want to make a straight edge on a thing, you can take painter's tape, masking tape, whatever, come around Make sure your edges line up. Just tear that off there. And now, as you go around, you have a nice straight edge you can follow to make a cut. And I've gone down past all the damage there, but still plenty enough to have a nozzle. And let's see if this will razor knife cut or not. Nope, that's a little too hard for the razor knife to cut. So, let's see if we can do it with a good pair of flush cutters. So what you got to do is kind of clear some of the plastic out of the way with your flush cutter here to get down to where you can make a nice flush cut against that tape. Clear a little bit more. There. Now then, so we'll take that and get right up there next to that tape and clip until it makes a little clicky noise and roll it up. Go again, boom, roll it up. And we'll just work your way around, following that straight tape edge with a good pair of flush cutters like this. And you can make yourself a pretty nice edge. It won't be perfect, right? You can still see where I've got it, the cuts in it there. Or, now that that's started, go the other way, just to bit it, because I'll make this easier for what I want to show you. Let's go here, here, there, and that should allow that. Now once it started, I think I might can do this with a razor knife in the thing. Let's see here. Yes. Now my razor knife can follow this tape edge as long as I'm slow, methodical, and careful. Should be able to make a nice, clean, straight cut here. Watch your fingers in case it slides. Just kind of hold that knife and roll. And I'm getting off there already, I can see, but there. We'll use the flush cutter to clean it up now. Take that out of there. Now there's a bunch of that out of the way, and you can just come around with your flush cutter and follow your nice tape edge there. Now, somebody's got a cooler way to do this, or a cleaner way, or a faster way. Go ahead and tell us all in the comments, and maybe I'll learn it and save myself some time in the future. Nope, got a boogered up spot there. Now then, last piece of making this look good. 180 grit sandpaper. Set down on the table here and just kind of nice flat surface. There we go. Now then, find our tape edge here and pick that up and unroll the tape off. And it's not perfect, right? But this thing wasn't perfect when I started, and that's a hell of a lot better than all that cracked up nasty stuff that we had. So that, go back on here now, lock it on, make sure it's in the locking tabs, and boom, this piece is once over, ready to go. No more duct tape all over it. You guys are still here? You made it all the way to the end? Well, if you made it all the way to the end, that means I must have done something right. So go down there to the bottom and hit the little like thingy. Right? If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe thing. Push the bell. Tell it to notify you when we put out some cool stuff, right? Help us stick it to the government. Help us get this word out there. Help us show everybody what they need to be doing. Because if you made it all the way to the end of this, that means you think like me. If you think like me, that means you're getting ready like me. And we scare them. And don't be scared of that. Embrace it. Hit the shit at the bottom.